Hola y bienvenido a este video. So, you want to learn Spanish fast. Maybe you've got an extended trip coming up to a Spanish-speaking country like Spain, Argentina, Costa Rica, or a study abroad program. And you want to learn some basic words and phrases ahead of time so that you'll be able to hold your own when you get there. But the thing is, you need to learn this fast. Maybe this trip is happening in a few weeks. You don't have a lot of time, but you want to learn it beforehand. Well, what's the best way to go about learning Spanish if you only have a short period of time to learn it? Well, in this video, I'm going to demonstrate that process. If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to the channel for more language learning videos. Y vámonos. Okay, so step number one, what we have to do is we have to find a phrase book. Now, phrase book is a collection of words on a particular theme, whether that theme is restaurants or traveling or numbers or something like that. What it does is it allows you to learn the most essential and common words in Spanish when there's a time limitation, okay? So step number one is finding a phrase book. There's an app I like to use called iTranslate. It has a lot of different phrase books inside of it, not just for Spanish, but for a lot of different languages, okay? So that's step number one, find a phrase book. Step number two, once we find a phrase book, what we need to do is we're gonna take the first phrase in that phrase book. Let's say it's a Spanish phrase book on greetings, okay? And our first phrase is the phrase good morning. Well, good morning in Spanish is buenos dias, okay? Buenos dias. So step number two is all about thinking about the way those words sound. So buenos dias. And identifying words in English that sound similar to that, okay? So maybe buenos dias becomes bueno Adidas, okay? So bueno Adidas, the phrase, okay? So now that we have our words in English, that completes step number two, okay? Step number three, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take those words that we just figured out in English and we're gonna create a picture using those words. So maybe bueno Adidas becomes this scene of a California skater guy saying way no to a pair of Adidas shoes, okay? Because maybe somebody comes up and offers him some Adidas shoes and he says way no to those Adidas shoes because he prefers Vans or something, okay? So way no Adidas becomes that picture of the California skater saying way no to the Adidas, okay? All right, so that's step number three. Step number four, I want you to close your eyes. I want you to think about what is the first memory that comes to your mind when you think about the concept of good morning, which is what our words represent, okay? What is that first memory that comes to your mind, the most prominent one, okay? I want you to think about that memory, okay? So for me, when I think of the concept of good morning, there's a particular memory in my mind of me and my dad. It was really early in the morning. I think it was like elementary school, and I was lying down in bed and my dad came up to me and he woke me up and said good morning, and I didn't feel like getting up, okay? So that's my most prominent memory. So step number four is about finding that memory, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the words, or the picture rather, that we just created of the California skater dude, and we're gonna insert that into the memory that we have, that prominent memory. So for me, that would be when I think back to that memory of my dad and me in that early morning, I would imagine myself there in the bed and I would see my dad when I close my eyes, and then I would imagine that the skater dude is right next to the bed and he's saying way no to a pair of Adidas, okay? And what this does is it links the sound of the Spanish words to the concept of what those words represent, okay? The reason for step four is when we're in Spain or the Spanish-speaking country, and let's say maybe we're at a restaurant and we want to say good morning to somebody, the process for it is we're gonna close our eyes, we're gonna think back to the most prominent memory that we have of the concept of good morning, okay? And then when we think of that concept, we're gonna remember the time when we were in the bed and we woke up early. And we're also gonna see next to the bed, we're gonna see that California skater dude sitting there saying way no to the Adidas, and we're gonna remember those words. And then we're gonna remember the Spanish words that rhymed with those words, buenos dias. And then we're gonna be able to say buenos dias to the person. Okay guys, so step number five, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a flashcard. Now this could be a physical flashcard, this could be an electronic flashcard, like through a software like Quizlet or Anki, which is what I use. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna write the English sound-alike words on the very top front of the card, okay? And then beneath that, you're gonna write out a description of your prominent memory as well as the picture that we created using the sound-alike words, okay? That goes in the front. On the back side, we're actually gonna put our Spanish phrase, okay? If you have a long phrase like, let's say I need to go to the hospital, right? Tengo que ir al hospital, right, is what it would be in Spanish. So you can either create a separate flashcard for each one of those words, or you can combine all of those words together and create one flashcard, which is kind of a shortcut, right? So tengo que ir al hospital becomes maybe tango cake ir al hospital or something like that, right? And maybe our picture would be Weird Al doing the tango in a hospital gown, sticking his ear in a piece of cake as he does it, okay? Something crazy like that. So tengo que ir al hospital. And then what you would do is, all you'd have to do is think of a prominent memory or time in your life when you needed to go to the hospital, and then you can combine that. So either way is fine, whether you do separate words or whether you combine them all, which is the shortcut. Both ways work, okay? And then step number 6, our last and final step, is just a matter of adding flashcards and then reviewing them. So the review process looks like looking at the sound-alike words in English on the front top of the card, and then using that along with the description of your prominent memory and trying to recall what the Spanish words are in the back side, okay? And then just practice going back and forth from the English to the Spanish, improving your pronunciation as you go along, okay? All right, so there you guys have it. That's how to prepare for your upcoming extended vacation or study abroad program. If you develop a daily habit of learning and reviewing these cards, you're gonna be able to memorize hundreds of Spanish words in no time at all. If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to the channel below for more language learning videos like this. Y hasta la próxima. Adios.